Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to take a look at some fast stars, some stars that are moving quickly. For this, we will be looking at stars with high proper motion. That's the technical term to refer to stars that look like they're moving quickly in our sky. So in previous videos, I've talked about how the background of stars is relatively fixed, but can move over longer timescales. That is generally true, and for a lot of the stars we see in the sky, they're not going to noticeably change, certainly not on an order of years. Stars are moving, generally speaking. We're going to go straight into the countryside to reveal as much stars as possible. Generally speaking, stars do move. Our sun is moving. We're orbiting around the center of the Milky Way, way out that way. So our sun is moving. All of the stars in the sky are moving. Generally speaking, the stars are roughly orbiting around the core of the Milky Way as well. Certainly all of the stars that we can see. Some stars are moving more together than others. A good example would be the Pleiades. They are quite close to sunrise at the moment. I'll push us a little forward. Yep, there's Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, and there is the Pleiades just above Jupiter, just above the sunrise. Because all of those stars formed together in the same cloud of gas, they're all moving pretty much together as they move through the sky. That's true for the Hyades in Taurus as well, that kind of V shape at the front. It's true for most of the Plough as well, even though the Plough is clearly a lot more spread out than the Pleiades. The Big Dipper or the Plough here in Ursa Major, not all, but most of those stars are also moving through space in roughly the same direction at roughly the same speed. And the reason we can tell is because there is slight differences in the motions of different stars. Some stars are moving faster or moving in slightly different directions than others, and very few of them are easy to spot. The stars that generally move quickly, that we see to move quickly across the sky, they're often close to us, and sometimes they're very hard to actually see with your eyes. So we're looking for a star called 61 Cygni, 61 Cygnus, the number 61 star in the constellation of Cygnus, which is here, Cygnus the Swan. So let's have a look, because it is a pretty faint star. There we go. And it is a binary star. You can see here we've got 61 Cygni. The CYG stands for that. A and then B as well. And these are A and B, not alpha and beta. The Greek letters come before the constellation, just like the numbers do. So here it is. This is the binary star. You can see it's being called Bessel's star, or B apparently is being called Bessel's star. So double star, rotating variable, circumpolar, never sets. That's handy. Yep, this is 61A, and this is 61. That's 61A. Is this 61B? It's not leaving me click on it, but that's okay. So these are binary stars. Now, looking at them here, we can see there's a lot of stars around them. If we move through years here, as we should be able to, the stars will, there, Bessel's star, yeah, there we go, 61. And Piazzi's flying star. Flying star is a common way of naming these stars that move very, very quickly, or appear to move quickly in our sky. So let's see if I can, yes, jumping through various years here, you should just be able to see that that binary star pair is moving with respect to the background stars. So this is something that we might normally associate with planets. So going back here to 1955, we can see that it's in a slightly different position. And if we try and come forward again, even going by years at a time, the differences here aren't going to be as dramatic as with planets, for example, that are whipping around the sun. But there are some stars in the sky that have what we call high proper motion, and that means they appear to move very quickly in the sky. Now, the important thing here is that we're moving as well. The sun is orbiting, and all of these stars are orbiting around the galactic core. So this means that the star is moving quicker than the other stars. But it does also depend very much on, our perspective. So we can see how much this star is moving across the sky, but this is space. The star can also be receding away from us. It can be moving in a few different ways. So we can see over here, Stellarium tells you the proper motion. So it's up there at 5,170. That's how, the unit of measurement as it's moving across the sky. It's only 11 light years away, so that's pretty close. And we know that distance. We must know it with a high level of accuracy because it's plus or minus nothing. So we must be pretty sure that it is 11.4 light years away from us. Parallax here is a different thing. So parallax, that's down to our motion on the Earth as we go from one side of the sun to the other. If I was able to easily jump in sets of 6 months, I'd be able to show it. But it just means that as we move around the sun, stars will appear to move back and forth a little bit compared to the background. If they're closer to us, stars that are closer to us will appear to jump a little bit differently than stars that are further away from us. That's parallax, something I will get into in another video. We'll pull back here a little bit and I'll see if I can get us back to the modern day. We went all the way forward to the 2060s there. But we can see that even in the space of just a few decades, which is certainly a long time, but for a star moving in the sky, that's not too bad. Right, 2023, that's not too long ago, it's not too far off. But there is Cygnus A, 61 Cygnus A and 61 Cygnus B, this double star. It is, if I check the magnitude here, 5. That's just about visible to the naked eye when you're in the countryside. But as you can see, it is in this rich region of the sky with the Milky Way and everything. But you can just about see it. It's that one just there. That's a dark nebula, so it is very, very small, hard to click on from this distance. But there we go, 61 Cygnus A. So that is a star with high proper motion. It is moving across the sky much faster than the other stars, and we can see that by looking at its position relative to those other stars. But as I'm sure you can tell, that takes decades. You need to observe these things for decades and decades before you actually get to see them, really noticeably moving. This is, that's what's done. With some stars like Cygnus 61 there, even in the space of like 5 years or so, it will be after noticeably moving in the sky. I'm after moving us a little bit closer to morning time here. Well, I'll move us back a little bit because I believe, looking in Ophiuchus for this next star, which is the 13th sign of the zodiac up around here, and it is Barnard's star. So this is a star that it has such a famous name. There we go. It's V2500 Ophiuchi. This is Barnard's star. And the reason it's got this memorable name is because of its high proper motion. And you can see there, 10,308. And that is, twice as much as the binary star pair we just looked at. Unfortunately, though, you can see its magnitude there is 9.5. So it's very, very, very faint. It's pretty much impossible to see with the naked eye. It is also, I believe, a red dwarf. I'm not sure if I can see that up there in the data, but I'm pretty sure it is a red dwarf. It's a pretty small star. It is a variable star, so it flares. It has these moments of brightening and dimming. Again, those have been observed, but we should, if I start going through several years here again, we should be able to see, there we go. There's Barnard's star whipping its way through the galaxy. So it is another fast-moving star or flying star. And this is something that we have found. There are some stars with this high proper motion. And we can also see, there we go, 5.96 light years away, just about 6 light years away. It's one of the closest stars to the Earth. I believe it's the third closest star to the Earth, after Alpha Centauri, and I believe Wolf 359 is the other, the next closest star after that. I'm unfortunately dropping these markers by accident because you do need to hit a few keys at the same time to get Stellarium to jump through the years, at least if you're using a laptop with a trackpad. But here we go. Let's go through that again, jumping through a few decades at a time. And we can see that the star is noticeably moving compared to the other stars. It's jumping along. And that's something that certainly with Barnard's star, you can see over the course of just 5 years of close observations and comparing it with the other stars in the sky. So while we are all orbiting the core of the galaxy, orbiting the Milky Way, the core of the Milky Way, Sagittarius A star, the big massive black hole way in there, even though all the stars we can see are in our galaxy and pretty much orbiting that black hole, some of the stars are moving differently. Now, this can be because they actually came from a globular cluster or a dwarf galaxy that the Milky Way has sucked in, and thereafter, coming into our galaxy at a different angle, causing them to move in a different way. But it could also be that they were kicked around by other stars. So especially when we have lots of stars in close proximity to each other, like we do in the Pleiades, for example, and other young groups of stars. Let's say, for example, that two stars were orbiting around each other. We had this binary pair, and some other star got too close to them, or they drifted past another star, and that interrupted their orbit, pulled the stars away from each other. Then you would have that kind of circular motion, the orbit that the stars were having, around a common barycenter somewhere in the middle. That angular momentum would have to be translated. It would have to become, linear momentum, normal momentum. The star could end up, being flung out of its binary orbit with another star and streaming through space at a much higher speed. Now, that probably didn't happen for 61 Cygni, given that that's still a binary star. Barnard star here, maybe. There's a few different reasons why a star could appear or could get moving faster than the other stars in the galaxy. But that is a quick look at some of those stars. And some of those stars, well, Barnard star in particular is quite famous. It's a very interesting star. And so are some of the other nearby stars like Alpha Centauri and Wolf star, Wolf 359. Some of these stars have been mentioned in fiction quite a lot. So if you'd like to come back for the next video, we'll be looking into some of those. If you'd like to get notified about my videos, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and do like this video if you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see a show like this in person, coming up on the 23rd of this month, I will be doing a live show in the Friary in Cork City. So if you're interested in seeing this show in person or something like this, then you can come along to that. And you can also take a look at my website if you'd like to read some of this information. So thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you next time.